Welcome, fellow travelers and seekers of the unknown, to the shadowed realm of Vaesen, Slovene lands. Here the whispers of ancient legends weave through mist-shrouded forests and babbling brooks, bringing to life the eerie and the enigmatic. I am Kitschy, your guide and game facilitator, leading you through this dark and mesmerizing journey. In the year 1848, within the rugged and mysterious Slovene lands, we traverse a world where the boundary between the mundane and the mystical is perilously thin. As we step into this unsettling realm, we'll explore the shadows cast by industrialization and enlightenment upon a land steeped in folklore and arcane rituals. Here, amidst the crumbling halls of Predjama Castle, our society headquarters, surrounded by the daunting majesty of the Julian Alps, the placid mysteries of countless lakes, and the haunting depths of vast forests, we shall uncover the secrets of the Vaesen. Trolls, selkies, fae, and other mythical beings that defy human understanding. With the sight, our investigators pierce through the veil of reality, confronting ancient spirits that have lingered since time immemorial, hidden yet ever present alongside humanity. Join us as we rekindle ancient magics and face the uncanny, reconnecting with a world of mystery driven by primordial laws. Brace yourself, for in the land of the Vaesen, the familiar and the fearsome dance an eternal, haunting waltz. With me today, we have Chris.
Oh no, I'm the first one now.
Hey.
Is it the same traditional intro?
Just say hello to the audience.
Hey, how's it going, audience? My name's Chris, and I'm playing a character.
You're playing a character. Yeah.
I'm Dan, and I am also maybe playing a character.
Gorgeous, gorgeous. We're going to keep it a secret until
Yeah.
we're revealed, I
Ooh,
guess. I love this.
I'm Ellie, and rumor has it that I also may be playing a character.
Did you hear? Did you hear
I
that?
heard.
Oh my god. Guys, it's a secret. It's a secret.
And now for a few disclaimers. Yay! All characters appearing in this work are fictitious. Any resemblance to real persons, living or dead, is coincidental. This actual play contains themes of violence, death, religion, sexual and potentially explicit scenes, depictions or discussion of traumatic events, and other adult topics that may not be suitable for all audiences. Listener discretion is advised. Please take care while listening, and if you find any of the content distressing, consider pausing or skipping ahead. Your well-being is important. Which will introduce me to our in-the-moment safety tool. We have cards. They are green, yellow, red, and black. These are to indicate consent in real time. I know these players. I've had them do many surveys about things they don't want to talk about, and I incorporate those wishes into everything I write with them. But sometimes that changes, so that's why we have these. In case in the moment you realize something is triggering you and you want us to slow down, yellow, or stop entirely, red. Also, fade to black is a great tool to use. And then if it's ever confusing, because your characters are angry at each other, or you were in a red state and now you're all good, that's what the green card is for. All right, now that that is out of the way, let us step forward into the shadows and begin. We need to start with a how to play, because Vaesen is not a super common TTRPG in the streaming space. So I did want to take some time to remind ourselves what the rules are, but also talk about this system with the audience, because I love this system. It's fantastic, and I really wish more people would play it. So, starting with the basics, Vaesen is a role-playing game. It is typically set in the mythical 19th century Scandinavia, where players take on the roles of investigators, dealing with supernatural creatures from folklore. For our game, we will be migrating the setting to the Slovene lands, a historical territory analogous with modern-day Slovenia. The game combines investigation, mystery, and encounters with Vaesen, which are beings from old legends and myths. Players start by creating characters with unique backgrounds, skills, and personal goals. And I do have a little bit of a map.
Oh, which one? Oh, you've
Oh,
got.
you're showing it.
Oh, just kidding.
Image,
Right, we're online.
to show accompanying all of this text.
Camera.
So here is a beautiful picture of the Slovene lands territory that the audience who has video can see.
Wow.
If you are not listening to this with a video accompaniment, you can DM me and I will describe what Slovenia looks like and where to find it on a map. Or you could use Google. So
Or just send the image.
Ooh, that is
Let me
nice.
describe what the image looks like.
Well,
Well, if they
technically
need, like, a
speaking,
screen
not
reader.
everybody can.
That's true. That's fair.
But we are talking about character creation. So this is what the character sheet looks like. Again, for those of you, and I think I forgot to move on to the scene that allows you to actually see it. Hold on.
Spoilers.
Whoa.
Now you know my name.
Is that your
Oh,
character?
Can you read my
alright.
handwriting?
Character
No.
sheet. Alright, so this is what a character sheet looks like. So you start by creating characters with unique backgrounds, skills, and personal goals that have a special ability called the Sight, which allows them to see Vaesen that would otherwise remain obscured from humanity's view. The gameplay revolves around solving mysteries, interacting with the supernatural, and navigating the consequences of their actions within a rich, atmospheric setting. That's my job. Just like any other TTRPG, the game's mechanics include rolling dice to determine outcomes of actions, utilizing various forms and resources, and managing character stress levels, which can affect their performance and mental state. The game is structured around a series of narrative-driven scenarios, where players work together to uncover the truth behind supernatural events. Each session typically involves exploring clues, engaging with Vaesen, and making critical decisions that impact the story's progression. The game facilitator, moi, guides the narrative, presents challenges, and controls the Vaesen, while players use their characters' abilities and gather information to advance. The cooperative nature of the game encourages teamwork, strategy, and immersive role-playing as players face both the mystical and personal dilemmas of their characters. This being the first session of our Vaesen game, I will give the audience a quick overview of the core rules, along with a summary of how to get started. As we encounter more specific rules throughout gameplay, I will try to give a short aside of the general mechanics without obviously undercutting the need to purchase this rulebook, because we love Free League and want them to sell more copies of this amazing system and setting. To play Vaesen, you first will want to create a character with the sight, also known as Thursday's Children. As subject of a very strange nursery rhyme with a printed history going back as far as 1938. Yes, we're going to do a lot of history in this game. Monday's child is fair of face. Tuesday's child is full of grace. Wednesday's child is full of woe. Thursday's child has far to go. Friday's child is loving and giving. Saturday's child works hard for his living. And the child that is born on the Sabbath day is bonny and blithe and good and gay.
Whoa.
Hey.
Just like this table.
Progressive.
I think I might have been born on a Sunday.
Wow, really?
Nice.
I don't know.
Um,
I can find out, I'm sure.
Yeah. We'll find out.
Okay.
Let's just derail this whole thing and find out what day we were all actually born on.
Scrolling back through the calendar.
Characters will follow a template using archetypes consisting of academic, doctor, hunter, occultist, officer, priest, private detective, servant, vagabond, and writer. And that will determine their special talents, a main skill, and a main attribute. Attribute points and skill points are assigned according to your age and have an inverse relationship with each other. An older character will have more skill points, which are related to their experiences in life, whereas a younger character will have more attribute points related to their innate physical and mental abilities. The compound interaction between these two allocations will determine the character abilities and likelihood of success in a given skill test, as determined by dice rolls. Classic TTRPG. Every character will have a trauma that enabled them with this sight, a dark secret to provide them depth, and a motivation to inform decision-making, along with a memento to serve as an anchor and relationships with each other to help drive cooperative storytelling.
Oh, just like real life.
Mm.
After that, I was really thorough with these. There are really only 3 components of gameplay that determine what event takes place. 1, the mystery.
Dun dun dun.
2, roleplay.
Dun dun dun.
And 3, skill tests. It's actually pretty simple to play this game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Generally speaking, each mystery has a common structure, although deviations are allowed. There's a prologue, invitation, call to action, and time to prepare, which will give each character something called an advantage, which we will arrive to in our mystery today. There is also a headquarters management system and an XP development system that can happen in between mysteries and influence gameplay as much as you would like them to. We will also cover those in more detail at the end of the first mystery, which will be like 3 or 4 sessions from now. The last rule we are really going to cover before we get started is skill tests, which is really the only rule that your players need to have down before you get started. Everything else can be referenced as you go. There are 12 skills: agility, close combat, force, medicine, ranged combat, stealth, investigation, learning, vigilance, inspiration, manipulation, and observation. They're all tied to an attribute and have archetype-specific influences. There are descriptions found in Chapter 3 of these skills, when to call for them, and what the results of extra successes might be. Whenever attempting to do something and the outcome is in question, the game facilitator will call for a skill test. The players will have described what they are attempting to do and what the goals of this action are. They will roll the number of dice equal to the skill value plus the related attribute. If there are any special talents being solicited or conditions suffered by your character, those may modify the number of dice you roll. So it's all just about the number of d6. The successes are only 6s that are rolled on the skill test, which is why most rolls only require a single success. Challenging or difficult activities may require additional successes, but really that's not till the end of a mystery. There is also a help action. You can add a dice by helping somebody simultaneously with a maximum of 3. And then there is also a push roll. If you fail your skill test and you would like to push yourself harder, mentally or physically, and you are able to narratively describe how you can do this, you may push the roll. You automatically are going to receive a condition because you are pushing yourself.
Just
This
like
is
real
not
life.
just a reroll. This is going beyond your limits. And then if you fail, it's my job to figure out what happens. It's not always necessarily that you don't get what you want, but there are sometimes unintended consequences. The last thing is really just conditions that you accrue by taking damage or failing rolls in critical situations. They are basically our HP tracking system. So if you get 3 mental conditions or 3 physical conditions, the next one will push you into a broken state, which we will cover eventually because it's very likely to happen in this game. It is brutal. And that's it. Yeah, those were very thorough rules. Thank you for staying with me as I described this game. I wanted to make sure that everybody knew what we were doing, besides just rolling dice and talking to each other.
And go slap some fairies.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah. I want to make a close combat check against this bear.
Good luck.
Thank you. I'm gonna need it.
Which brings us to our prologue, finally.
Yay.
Woo.
All right. Again, the map of Slovenia, as it was during this historical time period. Welcome to the Slovene lands, a place where ancient secrets whisper through the countryside. The jagged peaks of the Julian Alps rise like silent sentinels, their snow-capped crowns piercing the heavens, guarding the mysteries of a time long forgotten. Their slopes are cloaked in a lush tapestry of emerald forests, where the trees stand tall and vigilant, their roots entwined with the bones of the earth as the fog roll above, twisting between their branches. The rivers here flow with an eerie grace, their waters carving through valleys like veins of silver, glistening under the pale light of the moon. These rivers, born from the icy breath of the mountains, carry with them the echoes of lost voices, murmuring softly as they journey towards the sea. Along their banks, shadows dance in the twilight, hinting at beings that dwell just beyond the edge of human sight. Still lakes, dark and enigmatic, reflect a world half remembered, where shadows hint at mysteries just beneath the surface. The air is thick, with a quiet reverence, as if the very land is holding its breath, waiting for the return of something old and powerful. The year is 1848, and the Industrial Revolution has begun to bleed from Ljubljana into the countryside, which is where we begin our tale. Deep in the forests surrounding Predjama, near the end of August, the pine needles softly crunch beneath your feet, Joseph, as a mosquito lands on the back of your neck. Early as it is, the summer heat has already begun to melt the dew from the treetops, sinking into a fog along the cool forest floor. You listen for a rustling in the brush, your peripherals locked on Brudi, as he motions towards it, his left paw raised and his muzzle outstretched. Chris, would you like to introduce your character and tell me what you are doing?
So, crouched, hidden behind some grass, there is an old man. He is an older man. You can tell it's been a few days since he shaved, so he's got some rough stubble. He's wearing an old hunting jacket that's sort of like a tapestry of nature with years and years of dirt and mud and rain and all this sort of weathering. And he's trained his rifle to where Brudi, his hunting dog, is pointing. And he's looking for something to rustle as he lines up his shot.
All right. So you're looking for something. So we are going to do an investigation check.
Oh boy.
First check of the story.
Well, good thing I got my dog Brudi with me. Brudi is a setter of some type, and he gives me a bonus to investigation.
Oh.
Gorgeous.
Great.
So I
How many
get the
points?
+3, +1,
He points
and
with
then
his nose.
points are
He
No,
points with his
don't
nose.
like hunting dogs like point with their nose. all
Wait,
the
like-
time.
Yeah, he's a pointer.
Yeah. he's got all sorts of tricks. So I get 3 + 1 plus logic.
We know all about pointing dogs in this, of course.
I know a
Totally,
lot about
totally.
hunting, as will become readily apparent. I got 1 success.
Nice.
That is enough. So you do find a outstretched branch from the nearby shrub. It is barren, so you're able to grab onto it and shake the branch from afar. And as you do, you see something zip across your field of vision, scurrying between all of the shrubs, over and under root, across the forest floor. And Brudi takes off after it. What do you do?
I'm going to monitor. I'm going to skulk after Brudi and prepare my rifle. And as soon as I see an opening where whatever this varmint is, I'm going to pop off a shot.
Awesome. So give me a ranged combat skill test.
It's one of my best skills. So 3 + 4. That's another success.
All right, that's all you need. Again, most are just a single success. So you fire off that rifle. The sound of the gunpowder in the barrel ricochets through the forest. You feel it kick back into your arm, right? You would
Shoulder.
push it up into your shoulder. And you hear a yelp. It is a rabbit. It lets out a very quick and sudden yelp as it skids across the forest floor, stopping and falling silent. Brudi is immediately right up on it, showing you exactly where it landed.
Good dog, Brudi. I walk up to Brudi. I give him a tussle of his head, and I look at the prey that we've just collaborated on, and I reach down, I pick it up, and I stuff it into my satchel.
The smell of sulfur from the gunpowder? That's a question.
Oh, I don't know if because that's more. I don't know very much about, but I think that's more
Explosives.
for like point blank shooting.
Well, there is the residual smell of the gunshot that's lingering in the air, mixing with the smell of the pooling blood, that acrid, iron-filled aroma. and you lift it up, and it's dripping onto the dirt
Ugh.
In the forest floor.
I try to find some fallen leaves and try to scrape off the residual runoff before I pocket it. And I look at how many I've gathered already, and I'm like, oh, it'd be really nice if I'd find a fox, but I guess we'll continue while we still have daylight. And I pull out a small bit of rations that I have in my pocket, and I give it to Brudi as a nice reinforcement measure. And I look around, and I absentmindedly reach to my belt as I sort of rub a pouch on it, sort of absentmindedly as I'm trying to think of where to head off to next.
Yeah, so Brudi welcomes the treat, snaps it right on up. And as you feel the pouch on the side of your hip, you can feel the smooth bit from where your thumb has been rubbing over the past however long that you've had this pouch.
13 years.
Do we have a question on the other side of the
Well,
table?
no, Russell says that the stream is lagging.
Oh,
That is unfortunate.
Are you guys watching the stream?
I pulled it up when Russ said.
I will try to limit
That's so advanced.
what I am pulling up. So I'm actually going to go back to just our video view and take off Roll20 and click out of some windows. So I apologize to anybody who has or is experiencing any auditory or visual issues. Technology is often uncooperative.
it's as finicky as life
Vaesen.
itself. As the Vaesen, yeah, that's a
Yeah.
good analogy.
No, a Vaesen?
Vaesen, sorry.
Vaesen?
Vaesen.
I'm thinking of bison and anything.
Always got Bison on the mind.
I'm a cowboy.
Yeehaw.
All right, so Russell Tussle, let us know if that helps with the frame rates issue. This is our first stream back up for a while, so just figuring out what this computer can handle.
Okay.
Thank
So
you.
audio was fine. So we heard everything. So that's great.
Awesome.
It was just the visual that was lagging.
Gotcha.
So we
Cool,
should.
cool.
And they said things look good now. So
Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous.
thank
Okay.
you.
Yay.
Thank you, Russell.
Thank you.
Thank
you.
you. And that is how a community works. All right, so we were back in the forest with Joseph and Brudi. We were hunting some rabbits. We've gotten quite a few today, and we were deciding what to do with the rest of the day. I think you had said that you were trying to take advantage of the daylight, available daylight.
Yeah.
All right. So you continue to track through the forest. You hear the cracking of branches and the crunkling of leaves. That's a word now.
Crunkly.
Crunkling beneath your feet. As you push
Good
your
old-fashioned
way
crunkle.
through the underbrush
Crunkling season.
of the forest. You see Brudi's ears are perked up, twitching back and forth and rotating as hunting dogs do when they're listening for something out in the forest. He is on high alert.
What kind of dog is Brudi?
He's a setter.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Just want to make sure I'm picturing him right. You know.
Lean, wiry dog.
I'm more of a libero. That was a volleyball joke. Sorry. Please continue.
We do not talk about volleyball here, okay?
What is this, a jock stream?
Welcome, bros.
We would never. Anyways, as you're moving through the forest, you do come across a clearing in which you see some larger branches that have been snapped.
Bear.
As something made its way through this clearing. And you can see that the shrub has kind of been like parted, almost trampled down on the other side of the clearing. The dirt's rather disturbed here. You see some claw marks along the floor.
How high up off the ground are these branches that have been broken?
As you begin to inspect, I believe you should give me a skill check. Let's do... so I believe there's like investigation, which is to find things, but then there's is it observation? Yeah, observation is to piece together information.
Gotcha. Okay.
So I'm gonna call for an observation skill check.
Okay. It's a bust.
All right.
Oh no.
So you do notice that there are broken branches along your height level. In terms of the collection of broken branches, there's nothing to indicate the size of the creature.
But still pretty tall.
It's
This is not
big
your
enough.
This is not your
Yeah.
typical creature. Like I'm thinking, is it bears? Bears are they out about this time? Would they just be wanton? Normally, you can tell by the scratching of the trees that they've been there or where they've left their droppings. But
Yeah, you're thinking something maybe bear, large badger, dire wolf.
gotcha. Well, this is great for Joseph.
Yeah, good news.
To heck with these rabbits. But yeah, I'm gonna follow the path of the broken branches and try to send Brudi off maybe a couple yards ahead.
Yeah. So now you can give me investigation skill test.
Gotcha. I got one success again.
One success. That is enough to notice the splotches of blood along this kind of trampled path that you are following. So you keep noticing on like a leaf or on a blade of grass, just like a little drip of blood. But it begins to become more frequent. Larger drips, larger splashes, splatters, until you notice a lump off into the shrubs, something kind of dark and misshapen, maybe a foot tall, 2 feet in diameter. And you hear flies buzzing around this area. And as you approach, you start to smell the scent of death. That rot of flesh.
And this is the middle of summer, so that is gnarly.
It's pungent, yeah.
I get the neckerchief that I have, or the handkerchief I have in my pocket, and I sort of try to mask the scent. But is it the lump? Is it hairy, like skin or like fur, or is it just something other?
Yeah. So you get closer, and you do make out that it is a mixture of browns and like kind of like a tawny, dirty blonde and like a mossy brown and kind of an amalgamation of fur.
Ooh. This is some nasty creature.
And then you see eyes sunken. And you realize that it's a pile of rabbit.
Like a cluster.
Like a cluster.
Oh, gosh. And they all...
2 feet in diameter, a foot tall.
That's a lot of rabbits.
There's probably 20, 30 rabbits in this pile.
And
20 or 30.
Oh my goodness. Well, what's the condition of the fur? Well, I guess I think about that
Yeah.
for a moment.
You see the rabbits on the top of the pile seem fresher. Their fur is still has a sheen to it. It's thick. Their eyes are plump. But as you look down towards the bottom of the pile, you notice that you're seeing like bone protruding. The skin has kind of decayed away. The fur is patchy. All the eyes are sunken and almost dried out.
I'm gonna tell Brudi, hold back, and I tell him to wait by a tree. I'm gonna try to find one of these broken down branches in the vicinity. I'm gonna disperse this pile.
All right. So you poke a rabbit at the top of the pile, and it rolls down the hill onto the forest floor. Its limp body flopping out, splayed across the forest floor. And you begin to inspect it. No obvious lacerations, open wounds.
I say a prayer for these rabbits as I think this is some strange rabbit death thing.
Astutely observed.
He calls them as he sees them.
Yeah.
This is. I'm scared. Joseph is slowly turning around, trying to see if there's some sort of predator that's used this as a bait situation. Because it's the drops of blood were leading up to here, indicating that they wanted to leave. Like over time, many of them were drawn to this pile. I want to try to get to the bottom of this pile and see what's at the very bottom.
Wow, literally get to the bottom of it.
Yeah. So you begin shifting more of the rabbit corpses. And very similar. No apparent signs of external damage. You do notice that some of them do have crusted blood along their lips or nose. But one thing that becomes more and more apparent as you start pushing through with your stick is that they all seem to be flopping in kind of a twisted manner, as if their spine was snapped. And you continue to push through the pile until you start to hear a kind of almost squelching noise as you start to pull them apart from each other. The rot has gotten thick and wet.
And they've congealed together
Yes.
like a terrifying Jello.
Rabbit King.
Yeah, Rabbit King or
Rabbit King.
a Jello mold. This will not make for good coats. As I look at this disgusting pile of deceased rabbits. Yep, nothing good can come from this, I say to Brudi. And I toss my stick into the brush, and I walk back to Brudi, and I say, we should find a different path here.
All right. And you continue traversing through the forest for quite some time. You manage to scrape together a couple more kills, adding a couple more pelts to your belt, before it's time to turn in for the day. Where does that lead you?
I tramp back out through the forest the way that I came in. I think there's a small village nearby where I'd been renting one of the rooms as I've sort of been doing my circuit around this forest area.
You're greeted relatively warmly by the innkeep, and you're able to turn in for the day.
I give one final head rub to Brudi, and I say, "We got 15. That's a record for at least this time of year. Rabbits are wily."
All right. That is Joseph. How do you say your last name?
It's Joseph Wolfram Fuchs.
Joseph Wolfram Fuchs. Which is going to bring us to another section of Slovenia. All right. The first shards of light hit your eyelids, Luka.
That's me.
As the musty smell of last night's bed returns to your nose. As you blink your eyes open, you see the white sheets laid over the furniture surrounding you are grayed with a thick layer of dust. The floorboards down the hall creak as you hear someone shift in their bed a few rooms down. The clinking of metal can be heard beneath you on the first floor. Maybe a maid prepping the porridge for breakfast? Dan, would you like to introduce your character and tell me what you were doing?
Why, yes, of course. I am playing Luka Kos, who is a 19-year-old young man, a modestly average 5'8", with kind of cropped, dirty blonde hair, and has like a pretty thin, lithe build. Pretty unremarkable.
Just a regular, degular
Just
guy.
a regular
Yeah.
old guy.
Regular guy, except not old.
Yeah.
A regular
Just a
young
regular
guy.
So spry.
This is a teenager you'd find hanging out in the back of a Chick-fil-A. in
For
modern
sure.
times. Like, sitting around with all his friends.
Oh, yeah. Mhm.
Because there are no third places anymore.
You gotta pay for everything.
All right, what is Luka doing as he wakes up this morning?
Luka is going to check on Pikka, his little dog.
2 dogs?
With 2 dogs.
Whoa.
Pikka is like, obviously not a Chihuahua, but something along the lines of a small dog.
In the genre.
Of the genre of a Chihuahua. Probably some sort of like small mutt.
Maybe I should get a dog.
Pikka's pretty old. Pikka's like 10.
Wow.
Oh.
Yeah.
Does she have a gray face?
She does. Yeah.
Ah, cute.
She's got a little gray face. She's kind of like a Shih Tzu, I would say. So she's got kind of longer white hair, but now it's starting to gray and darken. And also,
Does
she's
she
pretty
have the
dirty.
Refined.
lick the eye crust?
She gets so many eye crusties. Constantly wiping away eye crusties.
Oh my goodness.
Crusty dog.
Ellie's getting so jealous. Even though she has the most gorgeous dog IRL.
So soft.
Yeah, sweet baby. But I could have a dog in the world of fantasy too.
Double dogs.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I check on Pikka.
Still alive?
Still
breathing?
alive?
Yeah, Pikka's tongue is hanging out. It never goes back in.
Yeah. It's constantly stuck out. Yeah, that's fair.
They look at you with this longing that they will always give you every time they show you their face. They have this like longing look on that you will never understand, that level of longing and that level of like love and comfort. And then they snort.
Hey, Logo. Shh. Gotta keep it quiet. Come on now. You know better than this. I tap her on the nose. Give her a little boop.
A reprimand.
But like a little boop.
Yeah, okay.
She sneezes and kind of backs away just slightly, and then runs over to the window, and just kind of like puts her paws up on the windowsill and starts kind of pawing at the glass.
All right. We'll get going. Gosh, didn't expect you to be so gung ho about getting out of here. All right, into the bag. I drop my bag on the ground, and she knows what that means.
Yes, this is the routine. She immediately just like hops on over to the bag, does like 3 rotations as she kind of pads at the bottom of the bag before settling down inside it.
Yeah. It's like a messenger bag, so I throw it over
Yeah.
my shoulder. And then I will slowly push the windows open as to not let them creak.
Yes. So you hear the like soft scraping of the wood frame against the wood of the window. As you push it open, the fresh air just like rushes into the room, and the dust kind of flies up off of the furniture. The sun is warm, it is summer, and the humidity is starting to build. Beneath you, because you're on the 2nd floor, you do see the garden trellis that you had climbed up the night before. And there's only a few people, just a spattering of people on the street below you, minding their business, going off to work, shaking out rugs on the front porch, just kind of going about their morning routines.
Yeah, I'm going to wait for a lull in
Yeah.
people so that, like, when nobody's looking, and this is not my ideal situation. I prefer to climb down into backyards, but this will be fine. So I'm going to sneak down the trellis and be on my way as if nothing happened. I'll close the window behind me because I am polite.
So courteous.
As you hear the faint pad of the window hitting the bottom of the sill, you clamber down the trellis. Your shoes hit the stone of the road, and you turn to walk on.
They didn't leave any, like, food out on a windowsill or, like, hanging any laundry to dry. Anything like that?
You can make a short little detour around the back of the building to check out their laundry situation, but you only smell the faint odor of like a millet gruel situation or like a porridge.
What kind of house is this? What kind of house did I crash in last night?
Yeah, I mean it's a 2-story. It's relatively modest 2-story. You can tell at one point this house was much nicer. The paint has begun to chip, and you suspect that the owners have begun to age. That maybe one time the empty room was for a child of theirs that has moved out or moved on.
Passed on.
And they are doing their best to keep up.
Then I won't bother him. I'll just be on my way, looking for a meal.
All right. The sounds of the morning start to fill the air, especially now as the sun is finally peeking over the tops of the houses. And so you hear the birds chirping, you hear the murmur of voices starting to slowly grow. That, like, sound of doors opening, their hinges creaking and closing, just kind of echoing down the street. And then you see a carriage, horse-drawn carriage, not particularly fancy, probably carrying supplies for one of the local markets or vendors. The wheels hitting the stone, just clicking and clacking, making its way past you. And you do get this waft of fresh baked bread down one of the side streets.
Sure. Yeah. Not off of the carriage.
No, not off the carriage.
I'm going for bread. I'm gonna go find some bread.
Get that bread.
Yeah.
The carriage you see, it's not a covered carriage, so it's an open
Oh, okay.
carriage. You see crates that are tied down with ropes. You do see a stamp on them. If you would like to first roll to do observation skill check
Oh, heck yeah.
to piece together what types of potential
1 success.
items that could be nabbed. All right. So you do recognize the stamp as one of the local, what is it called?
Bakers?
No, like a old country store type of situation.
Mm-hmm.
General store?
General store.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That could be anything.
That word. So it really could just be anything on that wagon.
Yeah.
General stores typically have more shelf-safe items, food items, along with lots of kitchenware, cookware, tools, and other odds and ends that you would need around the house.
Yeah, hard pass on that. We're going for the thing I know, which is bread.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bread has never done me wrong in my life.
Right. It's always bread.
It's always bread.
It was always you.
Just a loaf of ciabatta.
Holding up, yeah, a loaf of bread.
All right. So you slip down the side street and you follow your nose until, sure enough, you see the sign for the bakery swinging at the ends of 2 chains. The creaking of the chains as it blows in the wind. And you see a pretty simple building.
Mm.
There is a small bay window in which you see a little display of sorts of like little cakes. The more like cute, draw in attention types of items. Cakes and a couple pastries, all in a cute little tray on a little stand. But through the window, you can also see that the bakery counter does have a small line of people starting to queue up. And the baker is making sales, selling loaves of bread, selling muffins, and other morning baked goods to people. And they seem relatively busy. You do notice a small boy behind the counter, maybe 6 or 7 years in age, who seems to be kind of twiddling their thumbs. Every once in a while, you see the baker, like, glance over at her son, and give her this just, like, darting look. But then he pays her no mind.
So it's busy. So that's good for me.
Yeah.
It's busy and
Tickle in my
she
throat.
looks overwhelmed.
Which is perfect for me. I will casually walk into the building and peruse the... oh, God. Peruse the breads.
All right.
Maybe peruse them with my hands in my pockets.
All right. So on the counter, there's some baskets of larger loaves of bread, but then there are also some trays of like croissants and other kind of easy to grab and hold breakfast items. And let's see, that's going to be a skill check for you to pocket something, isn't it?
Sure will.
That would be a stealth precision.
I sure hope so.
All right.
I'm going to go for a couple of croissants. That sounds good. Oh, God.
That does sound good.
Oh, God. I missed. Okay. 1 success.
Yeah.
1 success. That's enough to do it. So you pocket 2, or yeah, let's go with 3. You're able to pocket 3 croissants. Quickly just slipping them beneath your
I have a
jacket.
big jacket pockets. Yeah.
Oh.
So into your
crunch.
jacket pockets. And you feel Pikka rustling in your bag as she can smell the bread.
I give her a little kind of like gentle, playful kick with the back of my heel.
All right, so you have 3 croissants.
And I'm out of there.
And you slip out. The bell rings behind you as another person is passing through into the bakery. And you're back out onto the street.
Cool. I drop a croissant and oh my god, my throat is like doing a weird
Are you
thing.
hanging in there okay?
Yeah, it's...
No, I'm dying.
This
Yeah.
seasonal
The cursed
shift
bread.
Yeah, my
has
seasonal
been
allergies have
rough.
been absolutely monstrous.
Oh my gosh.
Do you think it might be the candle irritating you?
Nah, this is just always...
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Heading into fall is the worst.
Oh,
Sorry.
I will drop a croissant into my bag and then eat the other 2.
yeah.
All right. And then where do you head?
I would like to head to a busy part of town.
All right, you head to a busy part of town.
Like a business area. I don't know if that exists in towns like these.
Yeah, there's businessy areas. I mean, they're not like modern day businessy areas. It's not going to be like just back-to-back stores in a smaller town like this, but
I go
there are
to
going to be
Target.
quite a few shops. A lot of houses that run businesses off their first floor or out of their attic, those situations.
Mm-hmm.
And there is kind of like a town square with the clock. They would have clocks at this point.
Yeah.
With the clock so that everybody knows what time it is, because people don't really walk around with pocket watches that much. Wealthier, more well-to-do people would, but not an everyday, everybody, regular Joe's sort of commodity quite yet. And around the clock, there's just there's the paper boy calling out about whatever the latest news is, trying to get you to buy a paper for a nickel. And people kind of bustling about going to their various places of work because it is still morning.
Perfect time. I'd like to find somebody who looks like they're important.
All right.
I'll also like to buy a newspaper.
All right.
I'm assuming I have a nickel to spare.
Yeah, you can have a nickel to spare. That's really up to you in terms of what your
My resources is 2, which
Resources.
means I'm poor.
you're poor,
not
you
like
have-
squalid.
Yeah, you're not squalid. So you do notice there's like a couple paper boys around this square, kind of positioned at various like entry points. And you do notice a man in a hat, a like relatively nice looking hat, that does seem to be watching the 3 boys, almost monitoring them.
Oh, paper person.
He's the boss.
The boss of the paper boys.
Potentially making sure they don't run off with the
Love the money.
earnings for the day.
It's fair. I'm going to run off with his earnings.
He should be keeping a closer eye on you.
Right. I am going to approach from behind,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm going to take Pikka out of my bag and
All right.
set him at the man's feet.
I'm so excited to see how this goes.
As to cause a distraction.
Oh.
Maybe Pikka will pee on said man's shoes. Maybe Pikka will bark. Maybe this man likes dogs. We're gonna find out and improvise.
She's always a distraction
Yeah.
in some way.
All right. So Pikka snorts as you set her down on the
I, like,
ground.
push her along.
Tongue still hanging out. And she starts by just kind of like giving you that look again, just like this longing, loving look.
Yes. Okay. That way,
And
please.
you
That
kinda,
way.
Redirect her and kind of give her a nudge. And she and starts to scurry off in front of the man. And he's kind of like, he's looking around, but he's kind of walking slowly around as well. And Pikka just cuts out in front of him. And he trips over her a little bit, just kind of stumbles. And he looks down and he just scoffs at Pikka, and straightens himself up.
During that whole sequence of
Yeah.
tripping, and that's when I go in, and I want to check a pocket.
All right, give me a stealth skill test.
I'm not stealthy as I knock everything around over here.
That's why we do this, to live out our fantasies of being unlike ourselves.
Whoa, that's crazy.
I rolled 3 successes.
Holy shit.
Gorgeous. You only needed 1, so that's 2 extra successes.
Sounds like he has 3 wallets.
What does
Yeah.
that do?
So there's a mechanic for this
Yeah.
in this handy dandy core rulebook that you all should buy because it's a fantastic game. No, they are not paying me any money to do that. I
That would
just
be
actually
nice,
do
though.
love this game. On page 44, there are skills, descriptions, and what to do when you have extra successes. So
You do super good.
I do so good.
stealth precision is very straightforward.
Yeah.
Extra successes make you succeed even better.
Yes.
So,
I
You
take
get
his
the
shoes.
His fancy hat.
all right,
You're the
this is
paper
not
I have my own
easy.
hat.
We have to reel in the realism slightly.
Okay.
But
This is a D&D. I can't just take his shoes.
Sorry, don't
Without
be
him noticing.
silly.
This is real.
but with extra successes, you are able to snatch his pocketbook along with a relatively nice pocket watch.
Ooh.
Wow.
Take it.
And you had said 3 successes, so that's 2 extra. So pocket watch is 1 extra success.
Oh, I get more.
And we're gonna.
God, I just
say,
grabbed a handful.
What else
Yeah.
does
Shit.
this guy have? A silk handkerchief with his initials embroidered on them.
Oh, we're gonna take those out. But yeah, great. Silk, I'll take silk.
Tied around Pikka's neck.
Yeah, that'd be
Yeah.
so cute.
And I grab my stuff and immediately like just hook a turn so he doesn't even see me. Like I don't cross into his field of vision is the ideal situation. And as I'm leaving, I give a little. I can't whistle. Thank you.
Oh,
I do
wow.
one of those.
Yeah.
Our
For
Pikka.
Foley work.
And she just kind of trots along through the crowds of people towards you, and you're able to scoop her back up.
She goes back in the bag, and we walk off. We leave the
walk
area. Leave the area.
You leave the area. Yes,
Your
you do
meter
not
starts
stick
producing.
around.
Yeah, exactly.
to the
wind.
scene of the crime.
Nice.
Good job.
Solid day.
I did
Good
it.
morning.
That truly.
3 croissants.
Truly.
silk handkerchief.
Let's go take a fucking nap in the park.
All right, and you make your way to the park. It's relatively quiet. You do see some people having a morning stroll, enjoying a nice croissant on a park bench.
I already did.
And you do find an open bench. These are the days before we started putting all those horrifying little middle arm bench.
Hostile architecture?
Yeah,
What?
correct. Hostile architecture doesn't exist yet.
Bless.
And you're able to find a nice, long, sturdy park bench
Yeah.
to lay down on.
I'm going to take out my knife and like cut out the embroidery of the man's initials.
Yeah.
And then I am going to tie it around Pikka's neck.
Oh, perfect.
And then I will put Pikka on my chest and I'll tip my hat over my eyes and take a nap.
Little watchdog.
Yeah. Well, no, she'll probably fall asleep.
Yeah.
But what have I got to steal?
Pikka's
Apparently a really nice
utility.
pocket watch.
Oh, that's in my back pocket. You'd have to like
Oh,
reach
okay.
up, reach underneath me to get it.
Yeah.
We think
You're
about
also,
these things.
you don't look like a mark.
Yeah, no. I don't have like I wouldn't necessarily say I have like tattered clothing, but it's definitely like worn.
Yeah.
Like it's been worn for a long time. These are not mine initially. They're mine now, but they weren't mine to begin with.
They got a couple of years on them
Yeah,
before
exactly.
you had them come into your
Before I walk past a clothesline and found new
Yoink.
clothes.
Gorgeous. And with Luka asleep in the park, we are going to transition yet again as a black and yellow spotted salamander scurries across the pathway in front of you, Akka, slipping beneath the detritus bordering the trail. You can see the smokestack of the cottage you're heading to through a break in the trees as the humidity in the forest builds. You can feel your medical bag hitting up against your thigh. Ellie, would you like to introduce your character and tell me what you are doing?
Yeah, of course. So Akka is a middle-aged lady. She has a long brown braid that is going a little bit gray. She wears a pretty sensible, like, linen outfit that looks well worn in, but also well taken care of. And she has a little, like, apron on. It's blue with a little red stripe at the bottom. That's her, like, working apron when she's going to go see patients. Like you mentioned, she's got a medical bag. It's like a little leather sort of briefcase situation that she carries along with her. And as she sees the salamander in particular, she fishes around in a roomy pocket, because I'm living out my fantasies here. And she kind of shows the medical bag up underneath her arm. She pulls out a pencil, and from her pocket she pulls out a pencil and a little notebook, and flips through it to a free page and writes down, like, yellow spotted salamander, question mark. And then she tucks the pencil back behind her ear, puts her book back in her pocket, fixes her outfit a little bit where it rode up, grabs her bag, and carries on, looking all around, like looking up in the trees, keeping an eye out for salamanders or snakes in the ground, checking out the dappled sunlight as she continues towards the cottage.
Yeah. So the birds are chirping through the trees. The pathway is relatively clear, but the occasional twig that you step on does snap beneath your feet. And you do smell the smoke as you get closer to the cottage. It's kind of this winding pathway that you see the cottage through breaks in the trees. And you can, like, watch the smokestack through breaks in the canopy. But you do kind of meander your way through towards the cottage. You're about 20 minutes outside of the town proper at this point.
Mm-hmm.
This cottage is a little bit removed.
More like 30 minutes the way she's walking.
Yes. And from what you know of the family that you're going to visit, the father is a hunter, and the mother just kind of keeps to the womanly things of the time, tending to the house.
Medicine.
Yeah.
Practicing medicine.
Practicing medicine. In your case, it is not what the mother of this household does. So they're hunters, so they're kind of off in their own little space, not part of the rest of the town. And eventually you do come to the front of the house, and it's a pretty simple wooden door with just like a small little window in the front of it. The windows themselves on the side of the house are shuttered currently, and the kind of area around the house is moderately well kept. Not like super manicured, but also not just the forest. So, again, it's a modest house, brown, mossy shingles, and the front steps are a little rotted.
Yeah, I step over the second step as I walk up to the front door because I already put my foot through that one a week or two ago, and I'm not interested in recreating the experience.
All right. So you step onto the threshold of the house. The wood creaks beneath your weight.
I knock on the door and call out, "Hello."
You hear some movement inside, and a couple moments later, the door creaks open, and a familiar face greets you. A woman with bright blonde, straight hair pulled back into a tight ponytail. She looks tired, a little bit on the gaunt side from when you've seen her. And she says to you, "Oh, thank goodness you're here. He's just through here, to the left."
All right. I come in and go to the left. I assume I have some idea of what I'm here about.
Yes, some idea. She had come to see you maybe 2 days back, that her son was sick, asked you to make a trip out to their house after you were able to tie up things at the local clinic. And something about him being coughing, bedridden, weak, feverish, kind of the general maladies when somebody is sick, but nothing too specific or alarming at that state.
Okay. So I'll follow her.
So she pushes open a door as it creaks, and inside you can hear a boy stirring beneath the covers of a bed, and he coughs a little bit. The smell of the room is kind of stale and a little musty, as somebody has been sick for a couple days inside and kind of closed off. You do notice that the windowsill or the blinds are closed, the curtains drawn. It's kind of dark in this room, almost oppressive feeling.
Well, poor thing. Has he been experiencing sensitivity to light? I ask the mom.
Not that I'm aware of.
Well, in that case, it's really better to have them exposed to the natural daylight rhythms of the outside rather than keeping them cooped up inside when they're sick. Helps the body regulate itself and make sure that they're not, becoming out of sync with the natural ways of the world.
Oh, really? I never would have thought that. I always thought bundling up.
Oh, bundle up, certainly, but, have the blinds open. Let him see the trees, see the nature, look at the birds pass. It helps keep the spirits up, and keeping the spirits up is an important part of maintaining one's good health.
I will try to keep that in mind. Thank you, nurse.
But that's not the only advice I have, or the only help I have to offer. Let me see the boy, and I'll go over and inspect him.
Please. And she steps aside as you're able to make your way across the room. You see a young boy, 8 or 9 years in age, in a bed that is meant for him to grow into. He is covered with a comforter and several quilts, along with a knitted blanket as well. So he is just like this is tiny little boy in his pile of blankets.
Where's this kid? Hold on, I started pulling blankets off. Wait a minute, this is just an empty bed. There's nothing in here.
We got you.
Tiny little boy in this pile of blankets. As you see him kind of shift and turn onto his side towards you, The covers like barely move. You just see like a little ripple of the top blanket. And you do see immediately he's very pale. His skin is clammy. His hair is almost like slicked back from the sweat. And his like lips are chapped.
Okay, so I'm going to, let's see, I guess we'll start with airway, breathing, circulation. So I'll kneel down to him and say, "Hello, I'm Nurse Akka. Your mother has asked me here to help you. What's your name?"
A very weak voice squeezes out.
Pulling out the name list.
Alver.
Alver? Well, that's a very nice name. A strong name for a strong little boy. All right, so airway seems good. As I take his temperature, I'll lay my hand on his forehead and I'll check his respiration rate.
Yeah.
And I don't have to go through all this.
Yeah.
Do you want me to just give you a
we could do this.
investigation check?
Oh yeah. Okay.
Should I just
give
investigate his
yes,
health perhaps?
Give me. Yes.
What's his blood glucose level?
I feel like it would be observation.
Okay,
But
yeah.
if you want to go, if you can describe a way that it's investigation, they're so like it's a very nuanced differentiation in the system. Observation is mainly used to put clues together.
Oh, well, I guess figuring out what's wrong with somebody is putting clues together. It wouldn't be medicine at this point, right? Because I'm diagnosing, not treating.
Medicine
that's fair.
is knowledge of anatomy, disease, or injury.
Yeah, I think we can do medicine for this.
Okay, great. So if I have a 3 in medicine, that means I roll 3 dice, right? Is that how that works?
And then you add your precision.
Oh, okay. So 6. Great. Thank you. Okay, that's 1 success.
That is enough. So from assessing this boy, you can tell that he has some very severe form of cold and or flu, like illness. So he's coughing. He does seem to have a lot of mucus that is being expelled and collecting in his body. He has a fever. As you like kind of move him around, he winces a little bit. So you can kind of tell that he's having some body aches. And weakness, fatigue. All of those things that are so hard to tell apart when you're like, this person's sick. But like, this is a severe case from your experience. Typically, children of this age are a little bit more, they're able to bounce back a little bit more easily from this. And this is 3 days after his mother originally contacted you. So it's been going on for a couple days. As in, she was already worried when she contacted you. We're looking at probably 5 or 6 days of the illness, which is a long time for something like this to be present in a child of this age.
Has his condition, I asked his mom, has his condition been deteriorating or improving since we last talked?
I mean, it's pretty much been constant.
There doesn't seem to be any change.
No. I was hoping he'd be better by now. It's, school's asking about him and...
So I'm thinking maybe I have like a medicine to maybe help temper the fever a little bit. And something with maybe like sedative or pain-killing properties to help him rest a little bit and just sort of like chill out. I think mostly what we probably need to do for him is just like help him rest. I don't know. Has he been keeping fluids down or anything? Has he been having trouble eating?
I've been able to get some bread and water into him. Typically.
That's good.
Yes.
You're taking good care of him.
Vomited a couple times. Last night probably twice.
Twice. She just pulls out the little notebook and writes
And definitely it's a slow process. He seems to be in pain trying to swallow.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, I'm thinking something that will help break the fever, maybe like a little bit of a sedative and like painkiller type thing that will then help him maybe have a little bit more of an appetite and feel more comfortable eating. Because with cold and fever, I feel like all you can really do is just like try and help the body do its own thing, especially in, you know, this time period.
Yeah.
Let me get out my NyQuil. Mommy's home.
Yeah, leeches.
Yeah. So I assume perhaps I have like some sort of little powder in a paper packet that I can like mix up and leave her with instructions, dosing instructions for it, and
Like
that
willow
type of
bark.
thing. Yeah, willow bark, maybe like a cool compress for his forehead. Talk about switching that out. Make sure that, you know, he's sweating a lot. Make sure that and I know he's covered in blankets, which is good, but make sure that it's not, his clothes and his blankets aren't getting cold and clammy. So if his clothing seems wet, try and change it and keep him in dry clothing, because that's really going to help him, you know, not create this feedback cycle of temperature. Those are my recommendations. So I provide those recommendations. I give him the first dose of his medicine. I leave the remaining doses individually parceled with instructions for how to administer them. And then I ask to be taken to a water source to wash my hands, which is a hot new thing I'm trying.
Yes, there's a well out back. And you can see that she's holding like the piece of paper and like the handful of the pills. And she has this kind of like bewildered look on her face. She's
Well,
like,
I explained it verbally too.
Yes. So she's like, yes, I have all these things. That, she has instructions. She does look a little like, I mean, she was overwhelmed when you got there.
Yeah.
So now she's like trying to process it, and she looks very tired. Like she's been staying up really late.
Oh, sweetheart, do you have anybody who can come and help you for a few days?
She pauses for a little while, her like mouth kind of agape, and cocks her head a little bit. She goes, I mean, my sister lives a town over, and I could always write.
Yeah, why don't you write your sister a letter? I'll bring it back to town with me when I head back, and I'll post it from there. It should be there by tomorrow. You'll get a little relief. You can't take care of anybody unless you're taking care of yourself.
You are a blessing. Thank you, Akka.
You're very welcome. I don't want to have to come back here for you now. Although the walk was delightful. The woods are beautiful this time of year. Well, every time of year.
Well, the well is out back.
Thank you.
Feel free to wash up, and thank you again so much.
Of course. I'll stop back to pick up that letter before I go.
Perfect. So you make your way to the back of the house. Sure enough, you do find an old well, stone with a little bucket. No crank or anything, just kind of like pull it up with your own strength.
All right.
Little bucket, you're able to wash yourself off. Seems like a relatively well clean water source. And you're able to do that.
Excellent. I will go back and pick up the letter.
And she hands it to you, and again, just like thanks you, grabs your hands, kind of like holds them a little bit, looks you in the eyes, and you see just like this faint smile just kind of like rise at the corners of her lips before she lets go, and lets you be on your way.
Excellent. As I head out, I pause. I look back. Is the door's closed?
Yes, the door closes behind you.
Okay, perfect. I just take a step or two back. I fish around in my bag. I pull out a small iron nail and I tuck it underneath the little rotted part of the second stair where my foot went through the other week. I tuck it under there with the tip pointing up. And then carry on.
All right.
Just in case.
Now with your back to the house.
Oh, wait, actually, sorry. I just realized that made it sound like I want somebody to step their foot on it.
You're
Oh, no,
gonna
it's-
you're gonna
That's
maim
not at
her
all.
sister.
That's
horizontal.
not at all what I was trying to do. It's supposed to be a good luck charm.
Yeah.
I'll point it down. Instead. I'm not trying to booby trap the stairs. I'm trying to show her superstitious nature.
I just assumed that was part of the like good luck, is that
Oh,
it
yeah.
had to be like pointing
Somebody
up
had to. Well, yeah, well, no, that's what I was
to
thinking
ward
too.
off evil. or
But I don't
something.
want somebody to. I'm more worried about tetanus than I am
Yeah.
about brownies
Exactly.
on my triage list. So okay, yeah, I'll face it in a different direction.
All right. So you go back and you readjust it after
Yeah,
that thought
I
crosses
walk
your
away,
mind.
I
you're like,
stop, and then I'm like, reverse.
the
Yeah.
anxiety kicks in.
Yeah, exactly. She's like, oh no.
And now, with your back turned to the house, you can continue down the path back into town, joined with the sounds of nature surrounding you.
Do I see any birds I've never seen before?
That you've never seen before?
That I've never seen before.
Give me an investigation.
Okay.
Investigation logic.
Logic is 5. Wow.
Whoa.
6.
You're so smart.
Yeah, I'm very logical, I guess. 2 successes.
2 successes. Oh my gosh, we have to consult the extra successes.
You see 2 new birds.
They're hanging out
Oh
together.
my god.
To give you
And
a thumbs
Timothy
up.
really knows birds.
You
I
get a
don't.
bird and a pocket watch.
The bird's wearing a handkerchief too?
And these better be actual birds that would have been in this region at this time. Or we're gonna know.
Sure, we're gonna be doing great. Extra success. No, not observation.
It was investigation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Investigation is on page 45.
More clues.
You can use it to search a room. If you roll more, the game master decides whether you find more clues, understand the context, or simply enjoy the satisfaction of a job well done.
I'm enjoying the hell. I'm gonna enjoy the hell out of these birds.
It's an endangered species of goose.
Wow.
Oh my gosh. I don't actually know what birds are in Slovenia, but
You can make one up.
you see a gorgeous larger bird with
a big
it's a black bird, very sleek feathers, kind of like a nice little sheen to them. And there is red and yellow stripe along its wings, the tip of its wings.
Cool.
Mm.
Wow. I whip out the book and write that one down.
Yes, and it sits for quite some time on like a really exposed branch
Ooh, like
that you
silhouetted
can
against
just
the
like
sky a
sit
little
there
bit.
and observe it. Yeah, it's lit up a little bit by the sky. You get a nice, like a really nice view of it, well lit, and it just kind of is cleaning itself. You see it flap its wings a little bit and
Like it's showing off.
nuzzle into it as it kind of like pulls back its feathers and the things that birds do.
This rules.
This
I'm
rules.
delighted. I've never seen this bird before. This is really something. I try my hand. I'm so inspired that I do try my hand at sketching it in my little book, but I'm not a good artist. But I feel like, she's like inspired.
2 new animals in one day.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
Well, the salamander, I think I might have seen before.
Gotcha.
Yeah. That was not quite so exciting, although I did like it quite a bit. So I return to town and I post the letter.
You post the letter. They greet you warmly. Take the letter. There'll be the post moves quite quickly here. It's the next town over. There's literally like a daily route between the two towns. They're like 2 kilometers apart. Like, you could walk there yourself if you really wanted to. But this is kind of their job. They go back and forth between the towns in the region. I do actually have a map of the region around Pradnyama.
Yeah. Pradnyama.
Is that this one?
Yeah.
Yes. Which, because of our video issues, I'm not going to be able to show the audience, but Ellie can with the gorgeous piece of paper in front of the camera.
We love how detailed that's
school.
going to
Yeah.
Really just to give you some sense of how scattered settlements are in this region in the 1800s. We're not talking about any major settlements right now. Luana would be pretty large, and there would be some larger cities throughout the Slovene lands, but the region that you're currently in is relatively scattered. I think I literally took modern day, so to develop this map, I took modern day Slovenia, did an aerial view, and I dropped buildings on actual roofs
Oh,
that
that's cool.
existed on the aerial view of
Oh.
this region, and then I shifted them slightly and took out a couple.
Very
There's
cool.
like 150 buildings in that entire region, which is
Wow.
a like 7-kilometer radius.
That's wild.
It's a cool map.
Yeah, so there's not a lot of buildings. All right. Anything else that you would like to share about Akka's day?
I don't think so. I think after her house visit, she goes back to the clinic in town and just sort of
Goes to work?
sees people for the rest of the day like she usually does.
Gorgeous.
But she feels very invigorated. It's not often that she gets to do like a nice walk in the morning.
All right. With that, we are actually going to go on our intermission. So we're going to do this structure pretty much every session, where we will have a single intermission at the middle of the stream, give or take a bit. And we're going to go on intermission for 15 minutes. I did have like a little canned thing about that, but immerse yourselves in the atmospheric embrace of our interlude. Whether you are watching our video, where enchanting fog scenes will drift across the screen, or listening along to the haunting strains of Slovenian folk tunes, take this time to refresh yourself, sip a glass of water, stretch your limbs, and perhaps indulge in a small treat. Let the
just a little
whispers of the land
treat.
call to you as we prepare to delve back into the enigmatic world of Vaesen Slovene lands. Return soon as the shadows await and the veil beckons. All right, we are back from intermission. Which actually happened at such a perfect time for our scene transition. So we have met our 3 characters for today's, well, this mystery and this campaign. So with us we have Chris,
Joseph Fuchs.
Dan,
Luka Kos.
Ellie.
Akka Korolev.
Korolev.
Yeah.
Ooh, I like that.
Thank you.
Very pretty.
Thank you. Named after an important contributor to the space program.
Ooh, all right.
I have no other information. I looked this up like a week ago.
Yeah.
All right. The winding road up to the ridge that the castle Pradnyama sits on has left your horses slightly winded. The light breeze is cooling, yet the sun beats down on you. The castle is tucked away, a gray stone collection of rectangles carved into the face of the cliffside. It almost looks like an accident, especially after the sparsely populated route here. In your hand, Kako. Kako, wow. Akka. In your hand, Akka, you hold the key to the keep. Linnea gave this to you several weeks back after you met her for the first time, and she had petitioned you to restart the society, which is how Vaesen is intended to be played. Post meeting Linnea, learning about the society's history, agreeing to go to the headquarters and see what it's all about. And so you have with you the key to the castle and some information about the society that's included at the beginning of the core book. So just the history of it, starting up their time spent hunting Vaesen, and then their gradual dissolution. Linnea was also, at one point, a member of the society, although she is very cagey about why she left and why she wishes never to return. It is Joseph and Akka in this carriage as it pulls up to the front doors, crossing the bridge over to the castle, coming to a halt.
Oh my goodness. Look at the state of this place.
The stones are crumbling.
I have to say, is it Linnea?
Yeah.
When Linnea described it to me, she left out some of the more pertinent details.
Yeah, I don't see a roof on that part of the building.
Oh, heavens.
I can only imagine what is living inside right now.
Oh, heavens.
Yeah, Joseph is now rubbing his
They're
hands
actually
together.
both like,
Interesting.
Well, shall we? She holds out an arm towards the
Yeah,
castle door. Castle door?
I whistle for Brudi, and I link arms with Akka, and I.
Sorry, when I said holding out an arm,
Oh,
I meant,
you're like pointing,
gesturing. But I like the idea that you were like, "Alrighty, let's go." Little like one of those awkward stranger miscommunications.
Oh, sorry, I thought your arm was extended.
Oh no, I'm sorry.
We walk very cordially.
Yeah.
You know the history of this castle.
Bits and pieces, but it's hard to separate legend from truth.
Yeah, there are a lot of tall tales. Well, I'm curious to see if it actually does have a dungeon.
Indeed, I'm curious to see if it has habitable rooms.
An equally inspiring mystery.
Indeed. And I'll unlock it using the key.
All right. You force the key into the rusty lock. It turns with a little bit of force. And then with a click, the door begins to swing open. As you push open the door with a creak. Thank you for the sound effect.
Over here.
I got whistles, I got creaks.
Yeah.
As you push open the door with a creak, you notice a faint light down the hall from the entry that you enter into.
Is somebody squatting in our house?
I certainly hope not. The door's locked.
Good point.
You notice the corners of the entryway are clean, cobwebs removed.
It's actually suspiciously nice in here.
If they squat like this, they can stay.
Agreed.
Broom swept.
Oh my goodness! I pull out my white glove and say, "Oh." Should we?
This is a little bit nicer than the outside implied.
Yes, I am curious.
I'm wary.
I snapped for Brudi, and I motioned for Brudi to sort of pad down the hallway towards the light.
As you make your way towards the light, you feel a cool breeze coming from deeper within the castle. And you start to hear the crackling of a fireplace. There's a couple side chambers, and as you peer inside the side chambers, you do notice that these rooms have not been cleaned. Detritus collects in the corners, cobwebs extend in the door frame, and they are plunged into a darkness beyond the light coming from the end of the hallway. And as the sound of the crackling fireplace grows, as does the light, you find yourself in a small study. Standing besides the fireplace is an older man in a aged butler suit. Clean, well kempt, but he's seen some years, as has his clothing. Its sheen has dulled, the fabric has thinned, and you notice wear marks, especially along the arms where the elbow would bend, and the tips of his gloves. As he sees you enter the room, he raises his face towards you. Ah, you have arrived. Master Luka has been waiting.
And who may you be?
Ah, my name is Algot. Algot Frisk. At your service. I have tended to these halls for many years.
It appears to be the one that you do a very good job at. And I point to the hallway that we just walked down.
It has been quite a difficult space to upkeep since the society crumbled all those years ago. But now that you have returned, I suspect we will see a shift.
Well, I certainly hope so. It's downright dreary in here.
Frightfully so.
You said something about someone waiting for us?
Indeed I did. Master Luka has been here for several days.
Did we know? I just got my letter just to come and to meet somebody at the town.
Yeah, you were the only person that I was told about.
Where is this Luka?
He is sleeping upstairs, I suppose. Typically this time of day. I was
Is it
just
the
about
afternoon?
Yeah, it's like 11 o'clock in the morning.
I was just about to leave out some lunch near his door.
Well, perhaps we can bring him his lunch and introduce ourselves.
A nice surprise.
A little food goes a long way towards establishing camaraderie.
Mm-hmm.
The stairs are to the left there. He's in the third door to the right.
Excellent. Is there like a little tray with his lunch on it or something?
Yes, you see like a tarnished silver platter with like a ham sandwich and some crackers.
Man, this is deluxe.
Wow.
Sitting on the side table next to the sofa in the study.
All right, I'll grab the tray.
And I will follow.
And we'll head up the stairs. Third door on the right.
I will be here for when the three of you return.
Much appreciated. If you wouldn't mind, perhaps, if there are 2 rooms that could accommodate the 2 of us, if you wouldn't mind opening them up.
Of course. I have set 2 rooms aside already, and I will make up the beds this afternoon.
Way ahead of me. What a professional.
All right.
He's like, don't tell me how to do it.
Yeah, it's like, this is my house.
Oh, sorry.
And he goes back to his tending of the fire and the room as you make your way up the stairs into another hallway. You hear snoring down the hall through the heavy wooden doors.
Sounds like there's a lumberjack indoors.
I know. And a second smaller lumberjack.
It's a higher pitched lumberjack. Intermittent sneezes too. That's all.
Wow. Well, this must be the door. I stop at the door outside of which the snoring is loudest. And rap sharply.
Ah! No! Oh! Ah! Who? You hear like someone like tumble out of bed. Who is it?
Akka and
Joseph.
we're
Okay.
your compatriots in the society.
Oh! Oh, okay.
We have your lunch.
Yes.
Oh, wonderful. Luka will get up off from the floor, and he has set up in an incomplete room, like a room that has like not been made nice, because he's hiding. So he'll like
He's about to pull a con on us. He thinks he's about to pull a con on us.
maybe.
He's like, I just showed up here and they started giving me hand sandwiches. I don't know.
The door swings open and hi, Luka Kos at your service. He's like wearing pants and suspenders but not a shirt. You caught me at a little bit of a casual moment.
I see.
Do you own a shirt?
I take the plate of food. Let me get ready and how did you know I was here?
Algot told us.
Yeah.
Who?
The
Algot,
butler.
The butler?
Oh, that's his name?
Yes.
That's what he
Oh,
said.
he knew I was here this whole time?
He said you were the master of this house.
Oh, God, no.
Oh, so you just...
No, I snuck in through the open roof.
So there was a squatter. Okay.
Yeah, but I was invited, so it's like,
Well, yeah, you just...
it's not really squatting if I'm
Oh,
invited,
you were
right?
invited.
Yeah.
Yeah, it like he goes into his, he like rumbles. What's the word I'm
Ruffles? Rifles?
Rifles. he rifles through his pocket and pulls out the same letter, like stamped,
Okay,
and
yeah,
but it's like crumpled and
It's got some
and
dust.
it's like been shoved into his
Yeah.
pocket.
Yeah.
See? Yeah.
Like got wet.
Yeah, I
and then
got it
dried
too.
out. Indeed.
So yeah, I guess we're like friends or co-workers.
Colleagues.
Sure, yeah.
three work,
I know what
yes.
that word is.
Yeah.
Well, gosh, I have to say, seeing you eat that ham sandwich is reminding me that it's been a little while since I had breakfast.
Oh yeah, you can. Typically, there are just sandwiches lying around out here.
In the open.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You thought that Algot didn't know you were here?
Well, they were on like tables in like other rooms typically.
Gotcha.
Oh, I see.
Specialty aged open sandwiches.
Well, I checked to make sure they weren't there yesterday.
Well, that's good.
Yeah. Very good. Well, shall we reconvene down in the study in a moment or two?
Yeah, I'm gonna go put my shirt on,
Okay. I'm so glad to.
Yes.
and I'm gonna scoop up Pikka under one arm.
How
Oh.
are Pikka and Brudi doing with each other?
You have a dog as well.
Yes, this is Pikka.
And this is Brudi.
Your dog is big.
Yeah. Well, your dog is nice and carryable.
Yes.
I want a dog.
Well, here. I'll let you. Here you go, Pikka.
Your wish
She
has been granted.
holds Pikka like she has never held a dog or anything, and are like just the most.
Watch out for the ends; they can get wet.
Oh, yes.
Oh, she tries harder to hold her like right from the middle.
It's
Plural ends can't get wet.
Luka will just pull his shirt on like very casually, and then like he'll come and take Pikka back. All right.
Okay.
a well-behaved dog.
Oh, no, really. I mean, she's really old.
That
Can't
helps
do
with it.
much.
Yeah.
Limited
Wow,
agility.
but she's happy. Look at her.
I see her. She's smiling, and
Is she wagging
she's.
her tail?
Yeah.
Does she have a tail?
She has a little nub.
Oh,
Aww.
and it's going.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's an energetic dog.
Enchanting. Gosh, this place is just going to be so full of life and laughter.
Once we fix it,
Yeah. Or right now.
it is got a certain charm to it.
I think I saw a couple of rooms that had roofs.
Does this
That's
room
why I
have a
picked
roof?
this one.
This
Yeah.
room does not have a
Oh,
roof, right?
No, this one has a
Oh,
roof.
it does have
Yeah,
a
I
roof.
picked this one
does-
because it has
yeah,
a roof.
Oh,
one
I
I
does.
snuck in via one
The
that
other
doesn't
ones.
have a roof.
Okay, but you didn't stay there.
Well, no. I don't
Okay.
want to get rained on.
I don't
Yeah.
know.
Well, it's good that the castle is partially covered by the cave.
That's true.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
the rooms in the back are probably fine either way. Excellent. Well, let's head downstairs and get an accounting of what we've signed up for.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So the three of you make your way back down into the study, where the butler, Algot Frisk, is standing in the center of the room, holding a leather-bound book. He extends it out towards you as he turns to Luka and goes, "Ah, Master Luka, good to finally meet you.
How do you know?
Have
my
you
name?
enjoyed your stay?"
Oh yeah, the sandwiches have been excellent.
Good. Noted. This is for the three of you. It is a ledger left here by the old society members. It is now in your hands, as is the key to the keep. I will serve you as I did the society before.
Thank you very much for your service.
And he nods.
What does this book do?
Yeah, shall we set it on the table and look through it rather than making him stand there holding it in his frail old man arms? Why don't you set that down?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay. But it don't get mayo on it.
Oh, sorry. He wipes his hands on his pants and shirt.
All
There's
right.
somebody else want to do this?
yeah, you turn around.
Yeah. We'll flip through it.
All right. So you set it down on the coffee table or something, and you start flipping through it. It appears to be a ledger of sorts, with names of people, with dates and short descriptions of various missions they went on or activities they carried out. Not particularly descriptive, but you do notice some sort of classification system in the right ledger or the right-hand column of the ledger. Some sort of alphanumeric system related to each of them. But in the cover of the book, there are two. So on the actual inside cover of the book, there is a short poem. And on the first page, there is a symbol of the Ouroboros with, I guess, which is also a poem. So here is the short poem for the inside cover, if somebody would like to read it for the audience.
Oh, me? Okay.
Oh, do you?
I mean, you have such a sonorous voice.
In the forest ancient and green, the spirits dwell, unseen, unseen. From the trees and the streams they rise, guiding us with their gentle eyes. The wind carries their whispers soft, their presence felt but never lost. The flowers bloom with their loving care, and the animals frolic without a care. The sun and the moon, they are their kin. As they dance and sing, the world begins. The spirit guides us through life and death, ever present with every breath. The natural world is alive and well, hope of spirits that often dwell. Leshy guards with a watchful eye, Kikimora keeps the hearth fires high. Vodianoi rules the waterways, while Gamayun sings of bygone days. Alkonost's voice brings a soothing peace, and Ovenik tends the fields with ease. So when you walk amongst the trees, listen closely to the gentle breeze, and when the wind whispers in your ear, listen closely, for the magic is near.
Wow. That's quite something.
Enchanting.
They have a good use of the ease rhyme. I enjoyed that.
Well done. By both the original author and for your recitation.
Oh, thank you so much. So this seems to be a foreword to some sort of folklorish book.
And you said there was some sort of classification system in one of the columns. Can you tell us a little bit more about, like, is it like code, like a 3-letter code indicating something, or like?
Yes, it's like a 3-character alphanumeric.
Interesting. Like a catalog.
Catalog is kind of what you're thinking it might be related to.
Interesting.
These are things that I have not... these are mostly myths that exist in the forest. Leshies being big bundles of grass and tree.
Well, it's hard to distinguish myth from reality.
Yes. I squint at Akka.
I squint at Joseph. The two can so often seem to intermingle.
They do cross paths from time to time.
Now, as part of like our initiation, do we all know each other, like have the site?
Yes, Linnea would have.
Oh, okay.
So you see weird things too.
Okay, yeah.
Linnea would have. I mean, she would have said that you were all touched.
Okay.
That you had a gift that provided you with special skills to. Again, she's very cagey, so she'll give you history and stuff. But she's always so cryptic. And so you have special skills that allow you the ability to combat Vaesen. And she does use the word combat, hunting. Like, her language around it is very much the language of destroying monsters.
My specialty.
Yes.
Well, we're lucky to have you on our side. What about you, Luka? What's your specialty?
I am the most unremarkable young man you'll ever meet.
Quite the
Oh.
feat.
I'd like to take something off of Joseph.
Okay. Let's see you
Right.
try.
So this is an opposed roll, which we're going to learn about right now. So you can make opposed rolls. NPCs, Vaesen, everything will make opposed rolls. It really just means that we figure out what you're doing and what the opposition to that would be, and we roll those skills. So for this, it would be your stealth precision,
Mm-hmm.
Luka, against Joseph's
I think it's vigilance.
vigilance. That is one.
Right.
Vigilance logic.
How many dice is that for you?
I got 7.
Oh gosh, I've got 6.
Oh boy.
You're doing pretty hot with those dice. I got 1 success.
I got no successes.
Oh dear.
All right.
I did roll almost a Yahtzee.
That's pretty good.
Well, that's not bad. Yeah.
You got 3 5.
Oh, just
What
2
about we
3s.
just
So-
pivot and
3
start
5s,
playing
3
a completely
4s.
different game.
Yeah, we're playing Yahtzee now.
If you get a Yahtzee, actually, what does it say in the core rulebook about that?
You get to be the game master for 2 minutes.
Luka, describe how you fail this.
I'm just gonna. You said you carry like a bag.
Yeah,
on
I have
your
a
hip?
little. I have some pouches and like various things on a belt around my waist.
Yeah, I like want to just like as I'm saying the most unremarkable young man you'll ever meet. I'm gonna try and like sweep a hand past
Yeah,
your belt and like
I have a hip flask on one side.
yeah, and just like pull it out of your belt.
And Brudi, like bolting up from the ground, sort of like lightly puts their mouth on your arm.
Whoa! Fine.
Oh my goodness, Brudi, you can't just do that to our new friend. I'm sure he was admiring.
It's a very nice flask.
You would. I pull it off of my belt and I hand it to look at to.
I take out a handful of wallets. This is what I'm good at.
Oh wow, you make wallets. Leather craftsmanship is.
They're very well done.
Yeah.
They're not mine. I didn't make them.
Oh.
Oh.
Okay.
Took them
Oh, that's
from
what you do it.
people.
A petty criminal.
Sure.
And you with so much promise.
I wouldn't say that.
Every young person has promise in their heart.
Well, sure.
I know.
He like gets all of his wallets back and puts them in his pocket.
I now understand why your dog has such a nice scarf.
Oh,
That's
again, not mine. It's also probably very dirty at
Oh,
this
gotcha.
point.
Okay.
But it's
It's
still
been like a
nice
week or
silk,
two.
yeah.
And wet.
Yeah, and wet.
so wet. With
When
what?
the tongue
I don't know.
when the tongue hangs out, there's not much you could do about it.
Yeah.
It's just everywhere.
Yeah.
Like one of those frog toys. Well,
What about you, Akka?
I am somewhat of an amateur naturalist.
Ooh.
I saw a bird the other week that I had never seen before. It was glossy black, and I described the bird to them. I also I practiced medicine. I was assisted the doctor. I was a nurse in our village.
Good to have medical skills. You never know what you'll
And
encounter.
bird identification skills.
And bird, yes, it's being a naturalist, knowing different creatures.
Yeah, so if you feel like you're coming down with something, or you break a bone, I can set bones. Can do some basic medicine, although I have to admit I feel somewhat ill-equipped here, as the entire place reeks of fetid mold, and I have only the supplies that I was able to personally acquire. I didn't want to take too much with me.
I'm sure there are some wildflowers that can be picked around here.
Well, what a team we are.
Yes.
Truly.
Akka reaches out like to clasp both of your hands. What a team.
When you are all finished
Oh.
greeting each other, I will show you to the library. This is where I've spent most of my energy upkeeping the headquarters.
Great.
Right this way. And he begins to slowly shuffle down the hallway, eventually taking you to a rather large room. Bookshelves lining the walls. And this is one of those, like, French-style libraries with the long ladders that reach up to, like, the fourth
Oh, hell yeah.
Shelf.
set of shelves.
Oh, wow.
This is the true glory of the society. A collection of tomes spanning hundreds of years and 20 languages. The last we counted.
So I imagine there's a connection between the big brown book you showed us and these little books.
Somewhat. The ledger counts the various missions where artifacts were uncovered. Unfortunately, much of the archives has been fallen to disrepair over the years. The collapse in the tunnel was quite a lot of rubble to sift through on my own.
Well, I imagine we will wrap around to that as we tidy up this little cozy cottage.
Ah, yes. Please do make yourselves at home. This is your property to do as you like. I will do my best to provide you with 3 square meals a day and ensure that the library is kept protected.
Much appreciated, Algot. And so when we were got the pitch to restart the society, did we have we don't have an assignment currently. It's just
No,
come
yet.
here.
You've been selected.
Yeah. Okay.
You've won the trauma lottery.
Yeah.
Congratulations. Gosh, is this guy on our payroll?
I was not intending.
I just left my paying job to come here, so
I've never had a paying job in my entire life.
you
So
might be the best equipped of both of us to handle this.
Yeah, well,
Master Akka, although I am old, my hearing is still here.
I apologize, Algot,
To
for discussing
answer
logistics in
your
earshot.
question, I do not need much and tend to fare for myself. I wish only to maintain the headquarters and keep the society thriving. Although that is something that I cannot say has been true for quite some time.
Algot, how long have you been here with this society? Is Algot older than I am?
Yes,
Okay.
Algot is 90.
Oh my goodness.
oh
Wow.
gosh.
I was born in the castle and took over the stewardship of it after my father passed in 72.
Algot, you have such a fascinating inner life.
What? I mean, of course.
I will take that at face value
I am-
and proceed with my life.
It was meant as a sincere. There's a mystique around Pajama Castle, given
true.
its storied past with Erasmus Luger. and the siege that ended with his death on the commode?
I am not familiar with the story.
You're telling me you do not know? He's the most famous resident of this castle. A real story about this historical place.
You will have to tell me today at dinner. I look forward to hearing your story.
Well, I have to admit, this, as exciting as this all is, excitement really tends to tire me out, and I would love to set my bags down if you wouldn't mind showing us the rooms we'll be staying in.
Yes. They are on the second floor. I will show you to them now.
Excellent. And once we get shown to our rooms, I'm really looking forward to checking out this library.
Yes.
All right. So he shuffles on back through the study, up the stairs, and onto the second floor. Your rooms are not far from where you originally found Luka.
Yay!
Yay.
Summer party!
Yeah.
Luka
Just
will
down
stay in the
this hallway.
library because
Okay.
Luka's stuff is already
Settled.
You've seen
there.
that. Yeah.
I've seen all the rooms at this point.
When you were picking yours.
Exactly.
You're like, this is the best one.
The other two have been made up. The bed's not quite yet. Everything has been like cleared out. So the rooms are clean. The beds are currently without a spread. But everything seems to have been dusted off. Any detritus removed, cobwebs cleared out. And there are clean candlesticks, fresh candlesticks, laid out on the bedside tables of each of the rooms, along with a oil lantern.
Great. Well, I'll just set my supplies down. Maybe like change out of my traveling clothes into a clean set of clothes so that I don't get dust all over the books. And then I'll go poke my head in Joseph's room.
Yeah, I am
Ready to head
unrolling.
to the library?
Yes, I unroll the blanket that I had stuffed in my traveling case, and I'd put up a few personal effects. And Brudi is sitting on the bed, and then I join Akka as we head back down to the library.
All right.
What do you think of our new companions?
You mean Luka and Algot? They have interesting personalities, and I think they have much to offer.
Indeed.
Although,
It's all terribly mysterious.
yes, because this is still a lot of unknown information. I know this is a society that is related to creatures of the sort, but hearing that it is so destructive, it is interesting. I would think it'd be more conservative in terms of rehabilitating rather than destruction.
Of the Vaesen?
Yeah.
Vaesen?
Yes.
Vaesen?
Vaesen?
Vaesen. Adding an H. I'll get that right. That's exactly why I'm so interested in looking through the library. I think that some context of the historical efforts of this society will go a long way in helping us understand what we've signed up for here.
Mm-hmm. Do you read many languages?
Only the one, I'm afraid.
I see.
What about yourself?
I only know two. I know English and I know German.
Slovenian,
Slovenian.
and German.
And I know Slovenian.
Just Slovenian for me.
Just Slovenian
Yes.
and German.
So we'll rejoin Luka in the library.
Yeah.
Luka in the library.
Luka has kicked off his shoes and is walking around barefoot. And has set out a couple books on the ground where it looks like he's maybe kneeled down to look at them. And most of the pages that have been opened to have pictures on them.
Ooh.
Luka can't
Are you sure?
read. No, that's
Oh, gotcha.
They are some of these pictures are horrifying.
Oh my god.
They are grotesque monsters.
Yeah.
in most of the sketches that you come across.
He's up on a ladder, like hooked one arm in to like flip through a book while on the ladder.
Yeah.
And he points down to a book and like, that one is terrifying.
Ooh.
Oh, I have a look at the one that's terrifying.
Yes, it is a quadrupedal
Dia?
beast.
Dia.
Oh my.
Dia.
Based on the context clues within the sketch, you can tell it's a rather large creature. It is like sketched next to some trees, and you're estimating probably 20 feet tall. It is like a long, slender creature with these like gnarly appendages and like these long horns that just twist in many directions, and its face is like gaunt to the point where it's like skin pulled over a skull. Its long maw kind of like open slightly and sharp teeth. There's no color to the sketch, but you can almost imagine that the eyes are like a piercing red or something terrifying in the night.
You're right.
Terrifying.
That one is especially awful.
And this encyclopedia also sounds terrifying. I'm just going to put that one back.
Oh my goodness.
Too many words.
Yeah. Well, it sounded like a monster.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like a big
I don't know
bug.
what that one is.
Leshy encyclopedia.
Yeah.
So looking through the library, do the books appear to be like, is it a lot more like ledgers and like handwritten or like documentation about the activities of the society, or do these look like an encyclopedia, like folklore books? Like what kind of
It's a
books are here?
combination of a lot
Okay.
of different texts
Okay.
and types of texts. So some of them do appear to be like personal effect journals. But then others do seem to be more like historical records and atlases and more like educational. You get this sense that the purpose of the library is for academic minded people to be able to parse through the layers of folk versus reality. Like, where is the lore, where is the tale, and where is the truth? And that is a complicated relationship. So as you spend your time in the library, that's kind of the story that you're getting. There is some sort of organization system that you start to notice. There's like the reference section, the historical section, the journals from people. You find a couple books that look like they're like almost shadow books from like a witch.
Okay.
Like
don't
a
open-
spell
don't
book?
open that.
Oh my goodness.
Like you open one text and it's like dusty tome with all these like weird symbols throughout it, and it's in a language that you've never seen. It's like, so there's a whole variety of stuff in this library, and as he said, like 20 different languages plus some witch shorthand, and code books and stuff like that, as well as stuff from all over the world. Stuff you see, dates that go back hundreds of years in some things. It's a lot to take in all at once.
Ugh. And I guess the book that Algot brought us is sort of the best, like, seems like the best summary or like overview of the society's activities. There's nothing that looks
Yeah.
more promising.
It's quite literally the like history, the like
Gotcha.
synopsis of the history of the society. So that one also you see go back like I think the book says like 60 years of time that the society was standing before everybody either died or left.
Gotcha.
And you do find Linnea's name in there a couple times, with some like things about different places she went, creatures that she encountered or believes to have encountered, and then the alphanumeric code seems to be related to the archive, so like artifacts and stuff like that.
But is this the archive that we're in now, or is this the library?
This is the library.
Okay.
The
archive is a separate thing.
there was a collapse in the tunnel that Algot mentioned. And it seems that when the tunnel collapsed, it took many years for him to clear it out. And during that time period, the archive kind of fell apart. It was a lot to upkeep. So it might have flooded, it might have been infested, all sorts of things could have happened, because it was a collection of artifacts and stuff like that. So there would have been like cloth and wood and stuff like that down
hard
there.
to keep. If it's got to be climate controlled.
Yeah, and that was not the situation.
Yeah.
It was not climate controlled.
Well, this is a valuable resource for future tasks. Good to know.
Indeed. I suppose our first order of business as fledgling members of this society is to get our headquarters in order.
Yes.
Thoughts?
Indeed.
Oh,
And he is just like
At
standing
your elbow.
behind you.
oh, okay.
That would be my suggestion.
I should have warned you. I saw him coming.
You'll be
Yeah, please.
yeah, you'll be our eyes
You
for
just
next
really,
time.
I'm a little deaf in this ear, so.
I imagine, is there a particular area that needs the most attention right now?
You look around and it's like the library
Is the only nice one?
has been kept up, and the entryway and a couple bedrooms.
Yeah. Okay.
Like throughout the time that you've been in here, like everything has kind of fallen into disrepair. Everything's covered in dust and cobwebs. Some rooms are going to be easier than others.
Yeah.
Obviously, the ones with roofs are going to be a lot more effort to clear out. There is a small kitchen. He's kept it moderately clean, but it's like a workspace, so it's really just like he's kind of cleared it out as much as he needed in order to like prepare food.
Yeah.
Ham sandwiches.
Ham sandwiches, yes. He lives very simply. I mean, he lives by himself in this giant castle, and his main task has been to keep up the library.
Mm-hmm.
Everything
And he's
else
done an excellent job.
yes. And the library is really, really well kept, and is a hard thing to keep up.
Yeah, all the paper and the books.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What would you like to see in this castle, Luka?
Oh, I don't know. I have a room, and there's
Yeah.
food.
It's a
like
good
that's
start.
a lot
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
me. It's like more than I normally have.
Mm.
What? Don't give me that look.
I see so much promise in you.
Thanks.
He's still got a lot of years on him.
Yeah. That's where the promise comes in.
Well, people are weird.
We can hear you.
I said I'm a little deaf in this ear, not
This one. What else do we do here?
Well, I mean, we could go find ourselves some lunch.
Mm-hmm.
Look
Is
around.
that a yes, then? You will restart the society?
Oh yes, I thought that
Oh,
was
yeah.
Sorry,
We're-
yes.
we
Oh.
agree.
You put a
Yeah.
roof over my head and a
Goodness.
sandwich in my hand. Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I already quit my job.
And I am a traveler, so I really have no fixed location.
Same.
I will send a letter to the network and inform them that this branch has reopened.
Mm-hmm.
As it indeed it has.
If you have any questions about the local region, please do let me know. Otherwise, I will go tend to lunch.
I do have some questions, but I feel like lunch is more pressing.
We can chat over a nice
Ham sandwich.
hammy.
I could use another.
Hammy Sammy?
Another
Yes.
Hammy Sammy.
Well, perhaps we can accompany him to the kitchens then. I am curious to see if there's a space that I could turn into a little clinic-y area, keep clean, store supplies.
Yeah.
If
Right.
the kitchen area is clean, that seems like, I can boil water there and stuff, which is a good start.
All right. So you follow him to the kitchen, where you do see a cured ham hanging from a hook. And then you do see a basket with a loaf of bread that has had a couple slices taken off of it.
Bread.
So he begins to slice the bread and then also trims off a couple slices of cured ham. They are quite literally ham sandwiches. And then a little bit of butter spread across one of the sides of bread.
Simple.
Yes, very simple. And then he stacks those together, puts them on plates, and is handing them out to you. But what were you wanting to do while he was carrying out that activity?
I'm interested in poking around to see if there's any, maybe like a little pantry or even just like the other side of the kitchen that has like a big counter or something. If what I'm bringing to the table here is my ability to do medicine, then I want to make sure I have at least sort of a setup to do medicine.
Yeah. So there is a little bit of pantry that does have some like larger tables or larger counters. The pantry is not well stocked, so there is a lot of space in there.
Okay, mixed blessing.
Yeah, so it might not be the So it might not be the cleanest space. There are also like a couple bedrooms that are available. They would take some cleaning up to do. There's a couple that wouldn't have been like aren't currently caved in or anything like that. The furniture might be a little old and decaying, but like having a mattress, putting like bringing some shelving in wouldn't be that difficult.
Okay, then yeah, I guess that's what Akka puts herself to after eating her ham sandwich, is getting a space set up, probably one of the bedrooms, maybe near our area, our 3 bedrooms. That'll be my plan. That's what I'm going to do with my time.
And this can be an activity that takes multiple days or weeks.
Yeah.
Okay,
Like,
cool.
like right now we're about to like montage
Okay, great.
fast forward as now you've all arrived at the society, you've met Algot, you've agreed to start this up and you have the key, and so now it's like a matter of you clearing out your little bit of space, expending your energy as you wait for something to come your way. In terms of a request or a job. You do see that throughout this time period, Algot does leave the castle. He takes, as you like watch him, you see that he leaves the castle through a back entrance. And if any of you follow him, it does go through a natural cavern system, so Luka definitely like follows him out through, and it comes out through the base of the cliffside, and that's how he gets down, as opposed to like the long winding path up the hill that you all took via carriage. And that is what he does to do his like errands in town. He'll like go out the castle, pick up ham
And bread.
And bread.
Butter.
Simple things. Take the sheets and stuff in to get laundered. So he like takes them to a launderer, and then has them returned. Makes your beds up, and does that kind of stuff. Every once in a while, he has to go get other supplies, more oil for the lamps, candlesticks. But again, very simple. His budget is very small right now. and so he keeps to the bare minimum, the basics. And so, yeah, over time period of days to weeks, you clear out your little space. You get a nice little setup, a simple setup in one of the spare bedrooms. Bring some like shelving that's not as decayed from some of the other rooms. Put one of the beds in there that hasn't fallen apart. Get the cleanest mattress. Have him put new sheets on it. I don't know what else you would need for this space, but it's that type of situation.
Like any like little medicines or whatever that I brought, I'll stock up on the little shelves, get some scissors, clean knife.
Yeah.
Fireplace, hopefully.
Start acquiring some supplies, and yeah, there's several fireplaces throughout this, I think.
Oh, great! I love fireplaces.
I'm not sure. You've been, Chris, right?
Yeah.
Oh.
Are there multiple fireplaces?
I know there's one in the kitchen, and I know there's one in the master bedroom. The master bedroom was really the only heated part of the castle.
Gotcha.
But there might be more. I'm blanking.
So are you really like in your mind palace right now? Like, can you really picture it really well?
I can certain parts. Definitely the master bedroom, because that's where the chaplain. Like the chaplain was living right next to there's like a window that he could receive mass while sleeping in bed.
Bless.
Wow.
There are several guard areas. There was the dungeon and the judicial court on the second floor. So yeah, I'm picturing that map that you have is like actual.
It's a very accurate map.
Yeah.
Wow.
I also watched a virtual tour at some point, like a year ago when I was planning to do this.
Yeah.
Yeah, that map is very accurate. Which I will figure out how to share with the audience next session.
Yeah.
Roll20 was I think Roll20 is what was causing the frame rate drop on our stream. So.
What about you guys? Are you guys up to anything in our montage?
I will just help. I
Aw.
might not have a lot of skills, but I can carry things.
Yeah. I think Joseph will go up to where the old barracks were on the upper floors and see if there's anything left behind or anything useful that could be salvaged to like patch the holes in the roofs. Because I imagine there's a lot of just stuff that was left because it was abandoned and they didn't want to take it. And
yeah. I mean, finding wood that you can break down furniture in order to salvage is an option. They would have had like some tools, nails, etc. like that as well to like keep up on repairs.
if there's an anvil or something
Wow.
like that, that'd be great.
Yes, there is an anvil. The floor beneath it has cracked a bit and
Yeah.
it started to sink.
Concerning. Like, what's this above?
I will have to refer back to my map and listen back on all of the things that I am establishing right now while not looking at a map. But at some
Playing
point there's
fast
an
and loose with
anvil.
the spatial relationships
Yes,
here.
correct. But yeah, that's you can find an anvil. You can find some tools and some repair
Cool.
supplies. And you can do some light repair on the building. You're not going to be able to mechanically. Vaesen has a headquarters system in which you can expend development points in order to gain like new rooms and new people and all of that type of stuff.
But we don't have any
But you don't have any development points because you haven't
done
Done
Yeah.
the adventure yet.
Yeah, you don't have any influence. You barely have any money. The place is a wreck.
Yeah.
I don't know. Luka was throwing around some wallets that looked
Yeah,
pretty
those
flush with cash.
Oh no, those are empty. Those
Oh.
are just empty
Oh.
They're
wallets. I
mementos.
was gonna sell them later, but that's what it is.
Those are his trophies.
Yeah.
Luka will also try and read. He can read.
Yeah.
Just
Okay.
it's like at like a
Hard.
second or third grade level. Like he reads very
Gotcha.
slowly. But he's gonna like try and find things on witches.
Oh,
Okay.
That's cool.
And he's gonna like he'll go to Akka without any like without any hesitation to be like, what's this word? Like, what does this mean?
Yeah.
Oh, it's, let's see, the conjunction of the planets. It's like when they all line up.
So conjunction is lining up.
Yeah.
So if we were to stand in a line, we'd be a conjunction of people.
Sort of. It has an associated implication, I believe, of like a system falling into place, if that makes sense. But
I get it. The
yeah,
planet's
that's
lining
the
up.
gist.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank
yeah,
you.
yeah.
And he'll go back to reading, and he like kind of whispers out loud to himself as he like reads one word at a time.
Akka will also do like some little superstitious things. She's got her
Yeah.
like horseshoe nails
Iron
that
powder.
she's like putting, she like braids a couple of elaborate like little grass like designs that she like puts above the doorway or like tucks under people's pillows. Just like locking us down on all fronts.
What's this nail doing under my pillow?
Oh, put that back.
Oh, okay.
Oh my goodness.
Just in case. Have you been having any bad dreams lately?
No.
Yes.
Oh, well, now I might be. Yeah, now I'm gonna be dreaming about that nail.
All right. And anything else that you'd like to do for the like settling in period of the headquarters?
Nope.
No,
I'm good.
Cool.
All set?
Awesome. So, a couple weeks later, as you are all sitting down after dinner in the study, which has become a thing that you do to pass the time in this very quiet, isolated castle at the top of a hill in the cliffside where you've not made any friends in the locality.
We haven't. Oh, I guess we could have said that we made friends, but we didn't.
You could, I mean, you probably went down into town and you made some acquaintances with like the baker and other like service folk.
Yeah.
We can
and if
help
you
Algot
wanted
with
to like,
his errands.
do errands. So you can probably have some relationships that are growing at this point. If there's any like things that you wanted to be like, I always go to the bar, the tavern, and hang out with the other people there. That's stuff that you can establish for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And we can do that by the next session
Cool.
in terms of figuring out what some of that passage of time stuff was. But for this, you are all sitting in the study next to the crackling fireplace, because like it's summer,
Mm-hmm.
but this is a natural cave system this is built into, so I'm assuming it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's
So like
naturally like a heat suck.
Yeah, small fire, even in the summer, would probably be nice.
Take
A
the
little.
chill off.
Yeah, take a little chill off, because it's like a cold stone structure. It probably won't get that cold in the winter as well as a result, because it's I think if you go like, what is it? If you go 40 feet down underground, it's like a constant 60 degrees.
Mm.
Yeah, it's just some engineering facts that
Where
you should
I want to
know.
live.
Um,
40 feet down.
40 feet
Underground,
underground.
yeah.
Where it's 60 degrees all the time.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
I don't even think it's 40. I think it's more like 20. It's not that
Wow.
deep. You don't.
We're the same
You
thing
do
every
not
Yeah, the
have
frost
to.
line is
Which
not
is
far.
why natural fridges
Yeah.
are just dug into the ground.
Oh.
You just dig a fridge. Anyways, I'm going on a
tangent.
tangent.
Refrigeration.
I
I
have a
studied
lot of
engineering
questions.
undergrad. And anyways, you're all sitting. There's a nice little fire. I had to justify having a crackling
Right, yeah.
fireplace, because I like them. And
It would be so sad to sit in the study without a fire going. Oh my god.
It'd
can
be
you
so
imagine?
dark, yeah.
it'd also be dark.
Yeah.
Yes, correct. So you all are chatting in the study or sitting quietly. What are you doing? Actually, let me ask you. What are you all doing in the study?
I'm shaving the inside of a rabbit pelt that I have.
Mm.
Oh, does that smell bad?
No, it's been tanned.
Okay.
Or it's been dried at least.
Okay. Great.
It's not like wet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is a dry rabbit.
I have a piece of string in one hand, and I'm playing with Pikka, and then I have a book in the other hand, slowly making my way through a page.
I'm braiding an elaborate grass structure and watching you play with Pikka.
Nice.
Have you guys seen those? Like, do you kind of know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Is it like a mat that's woven, or
It's sort of like these, like,
like an arch?
not really.
They're like wall hangings,
I'll find
right?
it. I'll send you guys a picture. It's like, it's these, like, I think it's Slavic grass weaving, sort of like traditional. I'll send you a picture.
Okay.
All right.
Sorry.
Cool. No.
They're like wall hangings, right?
Yeah.
You like put them on
Yeah,
walls.
yeah. In
It's
various,
not like,
like
Palm Sunday crosses.
no. It's a lot more pagan than that.
Yeah.
It's like the pagan version of that. basically. But with, like, grasses and stuff.
All right. Cool.
Yeah.
So it sounds like it's a pretty quiet scene. You're all kind of doing your solo activities around the fire in the parallel company of each other as the door creaks open and you see Algot carrying a tray. And on the tray, in the center of the tray, is a piece of paper. Good news, everyone. It appears we've gotten our first summoning.
On the Hammy Sammy tray.
Oh, an honor.
Oh, wow. A wax seal.
Is
And
that blood?
bloodstains?
Oh. Well, I was so enchanted by the wax seal. Luka, would you like to try your hand?
I could try.
I think you're going to do a great job.
Do I just...
I think yeah.
Oh, gosh.
Oh,
Okay, it's
gosh.
actually ripping some of the paper behind it. Okay, we'll be fine. We're just missing a couple of words there. Oh, no, we're good. Okay. To the society. I trust this letter finds you ready and willing. My name is Jacob Lesiak. Sounds right. Leziak? Great. And I write to you with great urgency from the remote settlement of Ukang.
Ukons.
Ukons?
What's
one?
it end in?
C?
C's make S sounds.
Ukons. Great. Nestled in the base of the Ulian Alps on the shores of Lake Bohini. Sure. I became aware of your service through the musings of my wife, so while I may not fully comprehend or trust your methods, my plea is desperate. As you may know, our community is heavily reliant on the lake for our livelihoods, particularly those of us who fish its waters. However, a shadow has fallen over our town. In recent months, several men have met their end in the lake, their bodies found drowned under circumstances that defy explanation. These were seasoned fishermen, men who know the lake like the back of their hands, strong swimmers, the lot. Rumors have begun to spread among the townsfolk, whispers of a monster lurking beneath the surface, a creature insidious.
Very
Whoa.
good.
Thank you. And cursed. Yet none have been able to recount its visage. An air of mystery surrounds the beast, and all sorts of fanatic theories have arisen regarding a curse on our town. I am a man of business, not one to give in to superstitions, but the deaths of these men have begun to affect the very core of our community. Fear is driving the fishermen away from the lake, and with them the prosperity of Ukons.
I think so.
Ukons?
Ukons.
Ukons. As a concerned denizen?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
It's like someone who resides in a location.
Oh, okay. As a concerned denizen with deep roots in this town, I cannot stand idly by as my livelihood and the welfare of our people are threatened by forces beyond our understanding. I implore you, the society, to lend your expertise in matters of the supernatural. Come to Ukons, investigate those deaths, and if there is indeed a monster in our midst, I beg you to put an end to its reign of terror. I am prepared to offer whatever resources you may require for this task. Please do not delay. The lives of our townsmen and the future of our community are in dire straits. With the utmost urgency, Jacob Lesjak.
That was very nice.
Thank you.
A stirring tale.
I know, and so confidently spoken.
Thank you. I've been practicing.
All those
Wow.
books.
I know. I don't understand most of it.
Ah, a lake monster.
Well, it sounds like our first job
Yes.
as the society. This is so exciting.
So terrifying. A lake
Yeah.
monster?
A lake monster?
Can you swim?
Yeah.
A little bit.
I can swim.
Not well.
Okay.
Not the length of Lake Bohin. That's at least 2 miles long. It's a long lake.
Oh, big lake.
Yeah. There's a little boat that goes across to it.
Not well enough to take out a lake monster on its own turf.
Hmm.
With that, the curtain closes on this installment of Vaesen Slovene lands. The calls of the wild linger for next time.
Ooh.
A heartfelt thanks to Free League Publishing for their steadfast support of independent TTRPG creators through their open game license rules, and for crafting a rich tapestry of Vaesen. Especially to the talented writers Niels Hintz, Niels Carlin, and Ricard Antoia. I'm so sorry for butchering all of your names. For their exceptional setting guidelines. Our gratitude also extends to Thomas Herenstam for the Year Zero game engine, and to Niklas Lundmark for his crucial role in making this game accessible through translation. Excuse me. We also owe thanks to Noraya, whose haunting renditions of Zreo Yizito and Andro have beautifully enhanced our intro sequence. And to our incredible players, Ellie, Chris, and Dan, whose performances breathe life into their characters and craft the tales that captivate us. Finally, thank you, Russell, for helping me prep for these sessions and for moderating on our channel.
Yay, Russell.
Yay, Russell.
Yay.
This project has been a profound journey reconnecting with my own heritage, a heritage disrupted by historical and personal trials, from the destruction of historical records during centuries of crusades and colonization, enforced language barriers due to assimilation theory in the 60s, and to the loss of my grandfather during the COVID-19 pandemic, my last direct connection to my homeland. For all of those like myself, striving to reclaim and redefine their cultural roots, I stand with you. May you find grace, empathy, and kindness on your journey. As David Mitchell eloquently wrote in Cloud Atlas, which I fucking love, our lives are not our own. We are bound to others, past and present, and by each crime and every kindness, we birth our future. Thank you for joining us. Farewell for now, and may the echoes of the past guide you until we meet again next week. Bye.
Yay.